All right, let's go. Hey, good evening and welcome to Tuesday night, Mate to Mate at 8. My name is Craig Turton, or TURTS. I'm the proud co-founder of a men's health organisation called 100 Words Mate to Mate. Now, 100 Words Mate to Mate, all we are trying to do is reduce the stigma and around men's mental health in this country. There's 7 men every day take their own life in this country. It's far too many. And all we're trying to do is reduce the stigma and encourage men to talk to each other about what they're going through. The way in which we do this, we started a campaign 26 weeks ago. It's called, this is how you do it, okay? You ring a mate and you say this. No longer do you say, "G'day mate, how you going?" It's not good enough. You don't find out any information. What we want you to say is this. "G'day mate, how's your day been out of 10? Or, "G'day mate, how's your week been out of 10? He will give you a number, okay? And then he will ask you how your day is. When he gives you that number, regardless of what the number is, there's always a follow-up. For example, if he says, "Hey, I'm having a 2, how often do you have 2s? Okay? What's an 8 look like? If you can do that 8 with him, go do it with him. Okay? Now, I say this every week. Now, when you log on tonight, there's a poll will come up. Okay? We want to know how your day is out of 10. There's the poll there. So jump on, tell us how your day is out of 10. We'll go through those poll results in a minute. Now, I say this every week. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I'm, in fact, a house painter. Okay, I paint houses for a living. Okay, so the reason we do this is to show you how easy it is to have a raw, open and honest conversation with your mate by asking him and starting the conversation with, "G'day mate, how's your day out of 10? Okay, so we've had a whole lot of people jump on already. Okay, just leave those up, Walty, just before I go through those. Now, at any stage tonight, if the conversation gets a bit too much for you, there's always a number to call. It's 131114. That's the number for Lifeline. Okay? There's always someone there to answer your call. Now, just going through the poll results. We've got people that are 8, people at 10 out of 10, 7, 6s, 4s, and 3. Those people that are 3, okay, hang in there. You'll get a lot of information out of tonight that'll help you. Okay? Just hang in there, and I really appreciate you being so open and honest, putting that down. So thank you. Now, tonight's guest. I'm going to say he's a really good mate of mine, but I've known this guy for 10 weeks. That's all. We're going to talk to, tell you how we got involved, but he's an unbelievable man. Okay, we got in contact 10 weeks ago through this very show. Okay, he registered as a 2 on the show, and I gave out my phone number, and he called me. 10 weeks later, we're now talking to him. His name is Ed SMYTH. Here he is. Hello, Ed.
Hello, good evening, good day.
Mate, welcome. And how's your day been out of 10, my dear friend?
I'm a good 8, between an 8 and a 9, 8.5.
Nice, nice.
It was a 7 before I saw you.
Thank you, mate. You know how to see now. I was an 8. Now I'm a 9.
Well, do you know why? Because people used to give me shit thinking I was the Thunderbirds, but now you make it much easier for me. I can't remember his name. Brains.
Now, mate, what are the odds? 2 good-looking roosters like you and me just hanging out on Tuesday night. What are the odds of that happening?
I know. It's my date night as well. I'm giving it up for you, so you should be blessed.
Let's hope that I can make you happy, shall we say?
Yeah, but she's out in the balcony watching, so hopefully it works.
I'll just wave. She's under no threat, mate. She's under no threat.
She's waving back. You're good.
Now, mate, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As I said in the intro, we have known each other for the grand sum of 10 weeks. We have spoken to each other quite a lot in that period of time, and this is our 3rd Zoom, is it not?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So, do you want to tell everyone, just tell us about you first. Tell us about your career, your life growing up in Belfast. Give us the story, mate.
Okay, mate. Well, so 37. I'm a real estate director. I moved here 5 years ago from London, but I'll go back to the start. So born in Belfast in Northern Ireland, in what seemed like a fairly normal upbringing to me and my 2 brothers and 2 sisters, but might by others be perceived as being a little bit different. We had armed guards patrolling the area quite frequently, and the hotel that we passed on our way into the city centre was the most bombed place in Europe, and things like that. And that's kind of where we were born and raised. It wasn't as bad as when my dad was growing up. It was pretty pretty gnarly, as they say in Australia back then. It was, it was pretty violent, the whole Catholic Protestant thing, but we won't dwell on that. Then I moved, like my other brothers and sisters, to Scotland. I did a degree in a thing called Risk Management and Finance, the year that September 2001. So that's when, September 11th happened, and then everyone wanted risk managers. So I became an investment banker. So I started in what's called the back office, made my way through to the middle office, through to the front office in record time. And then I became a bond trader in London, an algorithmic bond trader. So I traded the stock markets kind of 16 to 18 hours a day for 5 days a week. And that was pretty tough. That was like 3 to 4 hours sleeping per night for many years. And that's kind of why I made the move across here. So I'd never been to Australia. I'd never visited Australia. It was more of a kind of a lifestyle change to stop me getting put in an early grave, I guess, because it was extreme pressure I was under. And cut a long story short, that's brought me where we are sitting here today.
So you're a real estate agent up in the Gold Coast now. How long have you been doing that for?
4 years.
And you without pumping up your own tires, you're very successful up there. A lot of people, you have a great Facebook profile, and a lot of people know who you are.
Definitely not. Pretty small up here, to be honest. We're just my business partner Karen and I run a little boutique real estate company. We're just getting started. We just celebrated our 1 year anniversary, so post COVID we're still alive, so that's a win, I guess. And and kind of that's one of the things, just celebrating small little wins. So we're still here, we're still kicking, which is good. And looking forward to see what happens next with a fresher mind, which we'll get to.
We will. Now, tell me why you're doing this. Why'd you agree to this?
Because you asked me to.
Yeah.
Pretty much. No, it was I guess Dave Holmes, who's an auctioneer and a mutual friend of ours, kind of reached out to me in a time when I was in a bit of a dark place. I was basically an alcoholic, and when he reached out to me, he'll probably remember the meeting. I lied to him. I said everything was fine. I think I'd been telling everybody everything was fine for a long time, and just to out of fear of being judged or showing weakness, or I don't know why, I just held it inside. So when he reached out to me and I lied, and then there was a second meeting, and it was after that meeting where there was an event that happened personally where it was alcohol related, and it just I risked losing my family. So that was kind of how we came together, if that makes sense. It's a bit all over the place, but yeah. So Dave kind of instructed me to watch a video, which was an interview that you guys conducted, and I was a 2. So if anybody who wrote the 3 and 4s tonight, encourage you that if this man TURTS reaches out to you, just have a chat. That's all you need to do, is just start the ball rolling.
So we made contact with each other. I think I got onto you the next day, and you told me that you'd had the conversation with Dave. So just a little bit of information on Dave. Dave got onto it. Dave's a real estate agent up in Queensland, and Dave was following an event we did in Mitcham. Was getting a whole lot of posts throughout that event, and rang me the next day and said, "How do I get involved?" He's now a member of 100 Words Mate to Mate, and he's looking at running an event up there, and he'll be able to run an event up there a lot sooner than we are down here in Melbourne. So that's the relationship Dave and I had. And he rang me a couple of days ago and said that, mate, he's so proud of where you came from. He saw you, when it was pretty dark, and, to where you are now. Like, we're only talking 10 weeks ago, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a pretty sharp turnaround, to be fair. But it can move quickly. It can move very quickly.
So we're about to show a video that is unbelievable, and I'm so glad that you're letting us show that video about yourself. Just to give people a bit of background, what are the issues that you've been struggling with? You talked about alcoholism before.
Yeah, so I've been diagnosed with extreme anxiety and severe stress, which is a bit weird for me because I haven't really felt like I was under stress comparatively to what I've been in the past. But, you know, it turns out I've got quite bad anxiety and social anxiety and things like that, which, you know, a lot of people will perhaps be surprised by, because I, on the surface, appear quite outgoing and quite, you know, confident, which I am. But it's just that, you know, anxiety can manifest itself in a million different ways, and so can stress. You know, it can be a result of just, you know, life events or a pregnancy or, you know, just whatever. It can be many things. For me, it was, you know, whatever it was, it resulted in alcoholism. So I was I was binge drinking to forget, essentially. And I was also a heavy smoker, which people will be surprised to hear. I smoked for over a decade, you know, at least a packet a day.
Wow. And
I don't know if you knew that.
No more cigarettes or smoking now?
No, zero.
Okay.
It's a zero tolerance attitude.
Absolutely. Mate, I'm so proud of you that you're doing this, showing this video. Just to give do you want to give a bit of background on the video and why you did it and why you're prepared to show it to us?
Yeah, so like, I guess I was in a dark place. I was staying in a hotel room at the time, because I'd kind of thrown everything away almost. And I was just getting asked by my siblings, who were really close. We've got a joint WhatsApp group. We're all, you know, I'm very lucky in that sense. My two brothers, Ryan and Stuart, and my two sisters, Nikita and Stacey, we all chat every day, basically, in a WhatsApp group. And they know what's wrong with me when I go quiet. So I guess I've been quiet. And then I came out to the problems that I was having and explained to them. And you know, they wanted to support me to get better. And so instead of, like, you know, not secret, but, you know, individual messages, I decided to start recording my progress updates and my scenario. And this was the first recording.
Okay. Can you play that for us, Walter?
Day 3. I'm going to keep a diary. I have everybody reaching out, and, you know, I'm telling everybody I'm okay, and I am. But it's a long road ahead. Didn't realise the severity of my illness. I feel weird calling it an illness, but I guess it is. But I really miss the girls. I really miss Nagina and Ruby. But I'm looking forward. I'm looking ahead. And like, I'm putting some measures in place to fix it long term. I've got this really one good measure that I'm working on that's going to stand me in good stead over possibly the rest of my life, and it's just to say no. And that's not to say no to others or to situations, it's to say no to myself. Because at the end of the day, I'm the only one that can control this shit. So just having that strength within to say no, and first of all having the strength to admit that it's a problem. It's been a long time. And like losing, like they say, you'll never lose your brothers and sisters and your mum and dad, and that's true, and I'm very grateful of that. But you know, people come and go in your life, and so some you should get rid of, and others kind of get rid of you, and that's kind of the bit that's hitting me the most. Is they've got to get rid of me, not because they want to. I genuinely believe they love me, and I hope they miss me, but not in my current form. In my current form, it's just not good enough. But I've had a couple of good days, you know, I'm on my own in a hotel room, so it would be easy for me just to go and buy some beers or go to the pub and no one would know. But I'd know. And the fact that I'd know is the most important thing. And that's the most important step in moving ahead.
Fuck.
How hard was that to watch?
Yeah, it's pretty awkward. It's pretty awkward, but it's all good. That's where, that was then and this is now. So it's all good.
That's day 3.
Mm-hmm.
How dark was it?
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Like I didn't really want to speak to anybody. I was just felt a bit ashamed. And yeah, I had nothing to be ashamed of in hindsight. But when you're inside the darkness, it's pretty, you just can't see through it. And you don't want help, but you need help. And it's a strange, paradoxical space to be in, where everything that you need to do, you don't want to do. And it's just really tough to like see it. And it doesn't happen overnight. It builds over time. So it's gradual. So it's not like an event happens and then you go into that space. It's just something that kind of, creeps its way into the fabric of your life. And then it becomes a problem. And it can manifest itself in different ways. It could be drinking. It could be, I don't know what ways it could be, but that's a doctor's job. But for me, it was, heavy drinking and heavy smoking.
Did you feel an expectation that you were always had to be the funny guy and, you're always drinking, and was that part of the facade that you had to put on?
Partially, yeah. And I do have a pretty outgoing personality, so I'm quite comfortable in social circles, and I do like connecting with people. So I guess, the truth is that I wasn't being me. Yeah. I was overzealous, and I was, papering over the cracks of my personality, which was, anxiety and stress. I was medicating those, and I've learned tools and techniques which I'd like to, because I think what's more important is not who I was or what made that happen, because that's not going to help other people. What I think would help other people, and that's the real reason why I'm here tonight, is if I've been lucky enough that people have already reached out to me in private message since I announced I was going to do this, and shared that perhaps they're not in the best space. People that you wouldn't expect, women, ranging from their early 20s to late 40s, which is very interesting, and love to help anybody I can. So the objective here was just to, put it out there and see if it helps somebody. So one of the major things that I've learned throughout this, first of all, I'll talk about how I got better, if that's all right.
Just before you do, one of the biggest things in there for me was that just recognizing that there's a problem and owning that problem. And then what you said about, as you said, you were living in the hotel by yourself. You could have easily gone to the pub, got a heap of beer and got shit-faced, and no one would have fucking known. But the most powerful thing in that video for me was when you go that you would have known. No one else would have known, but you would have known. And that's the bit for me where I thought Ed owns it. And from here, there's only one way up. I just thought that was a really powerful part of that part there for me.
And I haven't had one drink of alcohol or one cigarette since that moment. So you're right. That was I managed to capture my turning point on camera, which was just, as a result of me trying to keep people updated. It wasn't, I've been, too egotistical in the past. I'm in sales. I'm having to jostle for position in a new market, which in an industry that I didn't understand or have any experience in. So, there have been times when I've got some, notoriety in real estate, and perhaps that's gone to my head a little bit. And, all of those things have probably commingled to put me in the position that I did find myself in, but that's okay. That's part of the journey of life, right? So I've been there and now I'm here. And where I'm going to go next is the most exciting part. because anybody that knows me will be looking at me now and they'll see a new animal. And yeah,
Just the fact when I saw you the other day on Zoom, and I hadn't seen you since that video, is the transformation just in your face alone. You just look happy, mate. You do. You look really, really happy.
Thank you, mate. You've been a part of that journey, and I respect that. And yeah, like I caught up with a good friend and business mentor, Jamie, recently, and he said that too. He knows me pretty well, and he said, you just look different. You look different, and you sound different.
Absolutely, and all credit to you, but for Dave Holmes to find, to just pay attention and realise something was wrong and ask you, that's just a simple, Ed, how's your day out of 10? And you answered a 2 after you'd lied to him. He asked you again and you told him. It's dramatic, mate. It's everything that we stand for, everything. And to see it happen in front of our own eyes is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I owe a lot to Dave for that moment, and I've let him know that privately, and I hope he appreciates that because it was sincere. But my partner Nikki deserves special praise because she kicked me out of the fucking house. So that was I was like, shit, I'm in a hotel. I gotta get this
together. You serious?
Yeah, I was running out of money. No, I'm kidding. I was, there's. I'm lucky to have a support network, right? So, from business, Karen, my business partner, helped look after the business, and I'm grateful for that. If she doesn't know that, I'll tell her now. And but special praise comes to my family and Nikki and my stepdaughter Ava, because they're the ones that have to put up with the bad times, and they've kept me around now that we're heading into the good times. So special praise to them from me.
They must be so proud of you, and they must have noticed, particularly Nikki must have noticed a massive difference in you in 10 weeks, mate.
Yeah. It's well, she's loving it because now I'm the Dezo, so she gets to go to all these nice restaurants and doesn't have to pay for an Uber, so she's loving it.
Saving a fortune, she is.
I know, the bills are a lot cheaper at the restaurants. Well, they're not actually, because I just eat more now, so I'll kind of if I can't drink, I may as well eat, right?
Exactly. Now, the journals were a big part of what you did, and you still make them today. So tell people, you're right, that we've gone back to where you were, okay, and it was pretty fucking dark. But to now go, okay, so look at you now, look at you back then, mate, your stage. You tell people how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, so this is the bit that interests me. And actually, that's the first point. So when it was clear it was a problem, the first thing I did was put my hand in the air. Like you literally put your hand in the air and you say, okay, I need help. The first thing that I did was I went to a GP, and I'd actually been to a GP before I had my, sort of breakdown type thing. And he'd put me on some pharmaceutical drugs, which, didn't work. It just made me feel weird, and I was really tired. I was falling asleep at 6 p.m. and it was all, he was of the opinion that I had some kind of, spectrum issue. So he wanted to medicate it. And then that didn't turn out to be right. And then Nikki and I probed him after the next one to put me in touch with somebody, what I call a mind doctor. So it was a psychiatrist. So, the doctor gave me some kind of anti-opioid things, but I didn't want to do anything pharmaceutical. It's really ingrained in me that I want to do this naturally and treat it for what it is, which is, an illness of the mind. Yep. So I went to a psychiatrist, and who I still see today, and that was the first huge step in getting better. Those first 2-3 weeks of seeing the psychiatrist, fucking awful, useless. I'm a bloke. I'm from Ireland. My brother and I talked a bit last week about, the anxiety we have as a result of our upbringing of always being on guard and not, being, living in a dangerous environment that you're kind of worried all the time. And now that we live in Australia, we don't have that worry. So you almost start to replace an anxiety with a different anxiety. It's super weird. But anyway, the psychiatrist was the first major step in getting better. And that's where I learned something that I've shared with you, which I find has changed my whole life, which is the interested versus interesting. And it's probably going to be the biggest thing I've got to share tonight, I think.
I think this is, it's a brilliant thing. And when I've explained it to a few people over the last week or so, and at first they're like, I don't get it. And then you explain it and it's like, oh yeah. So mate, explain it for everyone.
Yeah, and you might need to explain it too, because it does sound different from different people, but it's a very simple philosophy. Considering the point you made earlier about me being perhaps the noiser of the ones in the pub, and the joke teller and the storyteller and things like that. There's a constant pressure on you to be interesting, in front of others, and you take that into your business. I'm sure there's a lot of real estate agents watching this, so. What I often tried to do was be interesting all the time, whether it was to a potential vendor in a business sense, or to new friends in the pub when I was out drinking, and, to anybody really. I was always I want to be interesting. I want to show how interesting I am. And what I learned via the psychiatrist was that was adding to my anxiety and my stress, because, there's an anxiety to be funny all the time. There's a stress to be funny all the time, I should say. And there's a stress to be interesting all the time. So what we did was we switched that around, and instead of being interesting, I became interested. And what that allows me to do now is to ask more questions of people, to take the pressure off myself by allowing others to talk and being interested in what they've got to say and what their opinions are. And by removing that pressure from myself and giving other people attention, it just changed the whole dynamics of my personality, I find so far. I'm more calmer, I'm more considered, and that's a result of that one tactic. I think of it every day: interested versus interesting. Even when I'm engaging with Nikki or family or whatever, I'm still thinking, be interested. It's just a moment, and I just be interested. If I find myself like I am now, talking too much, I should, ironically. I've become interested, so your turn.
You can go on, can't you? Bloody hell!
Yeah.
I think I explain it to people too, and inevitably, blokes don't listen, right? Blokes hear, they don't listen. There's a massive difference. So inevitably, when someone wants to, you're talking, or when you're hearing, you want to insert yourself into the conversation all the time. And I say to people, and I say to my dear friend who I know is sending the question, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should listen twice as much as you speak. And that goes to interesting versus interested. If you're interested, you ask someone else how they are out of 10, for example. And as soon as you ask about someone else, as you say, there's no pressure on them, but there's less pressure on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine the strength in your mateships have they noticed a difference in you in that regard?
I think so. And expanding on that, it's probably a result of, before I was listening to respond to people, and now I listen to learn, because I'm genuinely interested in what people have got to say. Whether it's, an older lady who needs help selling her house, and I need to be more interested there. She doesn't give a shit about me. Let's be honest. But I care about her, because I want to be interested in and create connections based on that. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
it's more important as a real estate agent to know the client. What does the client want? And that's part of the skill of your game.
But I think it's more important than that, because I'm being interested in what Nikki says at home, in what Ava says, the stepchild. I'm interested in what they've got to say more. That's more important than the business relationships. I'm interested. My brothers, my sisters, they've noticed a market difference. If they were on this now, they would say so, because there is a big difference in the demeanor when you become interested versus interesting.
And Nikki, more so than anyone's probably noticed the biggest change in you?
Yeah, because she's the one that's exposed. She's the one that sees me every day. So it makes sense that she's the one that's probably noticed the biggest difference, I hope.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of the other things you did to sort of free your mind up? You talked about you went and got your boat license and you went jet skiing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the boat license was a funny one. I always thought people with boats were weird because I just saw them as like Uber taxis. So you're the only person, you can't drink, you've got to drive the boat while everyone else parties and gets drunk. I just thought that was stupid. Why would you pay for everyone else to get drunk on your boat? You know, because that's how deep into booze I was. I was stupid. Yeah. But so then I started walking. That was my secret sauce. I went walking a lot. Like I walked 75 Ks plus in 1 week, just walking around like Forrest Gump. Had to change my shoes. And
what did that cost you?
I don't know. I don't check my accounts anymore. It's too painful.
No. Not the shoes. What did it cost you to go for a walk?
Free. Free. Well, it cost me the boat license, and as we know, boats are expensive, so it might have cost me a lot of money in hindsight. But anyway, we'll get to that. I was in the marina, and with that new mindset that I wasn't drinking anymore, I saw all these boats, and there was, you know, hundreds of boats worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm thinking, well, they're not that stupid. You know, they all own boats. So it was just a thing in my head. So I just got incessant. I've got an addictive personality by nature, which is part of all, you know, why this is all a problem, I guess. So I need to calm down my thought patterns. So I booked the boat exam for 12 the next day. This was at around 5 p.m. So I just stayed up that night learning all the boat stuff, which, you know, we actually went out in a boat on Sunday with Nikki and Ava. It was a beautiful picnic boat. Crashed the thing. So true story. It was an electric boat. It went 4 knots and I crashed it. So don't put me near your boat. That's a true story. Oh. that was just a little, you know, thing that I set myself with a new clear mind that I would get to, and the next day I achieved it. You know, going out on a jet ski, you know, you don't see anybody unhappy on a jet ski when they're out in the water. You know, you're not thinking about your demons or whatever that is, you know, your darkness. You know, if you're feeling a bit dark, trust me, go out for a walk. Go walk 3 to 5 kilometers, and I bet you'll feel better. Guaranteed, no doubt. Just a 3 to 5 kilometer walk. If anybody's, even tonight after watching this, if you're still feeling a little bit shitty, go for a walk for 3 kilometers. That's all. It'll take you half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever, something like that, and you'll feel the world of good. Yeah, and I've supplemented that with, you know, audiobooks. That's one of my things now. So Audible, I'm just crazy for it. So, you know, if you like to read books like me, you can't read when you're walking or you'd look like a dickhead, right? You can't, you know, and you can't read when you're driving a car because, again, probably not that safe. Yeah. So I found Audible books have been great. You know, you're walking, you're learning at the same time. Could be anything. Could be a thriller. Could be, you know, whatever. I like business books and self-help books and stuff like that. So I just, you know, go through those on my walk. So I'm learning, I'm getting some fresh air, I'm exercising. It's just it's a secret sauce to making your mind a bit better.
Is that the first thing in the morning you do that? You do it at 6 o'clock, don't you?
Yeah, I went through a stage where I was religiously doing it every day, and then I kind of slipped a little bit, and I actually noticed in my attitude and my demeanor when I wasn't going for an early walk how it would change. So, and that's all about like mental resilience and stuff like that. So I've just signed up for something which starts tomorrow, which is called 75 Hard. I don't know if you've heard of that from Andy Frisella. No? So this starts tomorrow. It's 75 days. It's 2 times 45-minute workouts a day. Yep. One indoors and one outdoors, or both can be outdoors, but at least one has to be outdoors. So that's 2 45-minute workouts a day. I don't even have a gym membership. I don't have no fucking idea how to work out. But anyway, it's a mental game.
Show us the guns now. Show us the guns.
Yeah, right. I'll keep them down for now. Fucking 2 swans. So I've signed up for that. So I've got to read 10 pages of a book, a physical book every day. I've got to drink a gallon of water. I've got to do 2 45-minute workouts. There are no cheat meals and no alcohol, of course. Yep. And that's for 75 days. If you had told me 2.5, 3 months ago, I would even consider something like that, I'd call you a fucking maniac. But But tomorrow I'm starting that. Not only am I starting it, I will finish it.
Unbelievable. Your attitude is unbelievable now compared to obviously the first couple of days that we spoke. But the routine, how important is that routine for you now?
Oh, it's very important now. And now more than ever, I'm starting to notice that it's important to take time for yourself, to really take time for yourself. You know, I've got quite an interesting mind, and that's one of the reasons why I've got the anxiety and stress issues. You know, the doctor says that I've got, you know, like a high frequency mind, always searching for, you know, new ideas and, you know, technology things and entrepreneurial stuff. So it's kind of like I've got that, you know, high voltage frequency.
You're always on.
Yeah, I'm always on. I'm always thinking about shit, and I always often get, you know, distracted. So just having that, you know, even just the walk, you know, I'm blessed in the fact that I live on the Broadwater here in the Gold Coast, so it's a beautiful walk. You know, I've got a little cavoodle running around there, so she likes to walk. So it's just a nice experience. You know, you take your shoes off, you walk on the sand, you're touching the ground. It sounds fucking hippie, but whatever. Yeah. And you know, just touching the sand with your feet and going for a walk is just, I don't know, it does something for your soul. I think it does something for your mind as well. It lets you kind of, you know, cleanse it. And that's when I do a lot of the video stuff. So I might just unpack some issues or some challenges that I've had as if I'm talking to an audience, but nobody else. That's the only thing that's been shared, that video at the start. Yeah. But I've got maybe 100 saved to a Dropbox that only I've got access to. And one day I'll just watch them back, right? You know, to see how far I've come or whatever, I don't know.
How important are they to sort of, it's essentially like owning the morning, isn't it? So get up, go for a walk, audiobook, or do the video. And is that, what an amazing way to start the day.
Yeah, it is. You know, I've always seen these, you know, we've got big real estate conferences like AREC, it's called, the Australian Real Estate Conference, and it's 5,000 people, and you know, all these people get up on stage and they've always got fucking slow-mo videos and wank cars, and it's like, oh, shut up, you dick. But it's always, you know, I get up to start the gym first thing in the morning, and then, you know, at 5 a.m. and oh shit, you know, get up when you're comfortable and go for a walk. That's all it is. Yeah. It's literally that. It doesn't need to be, you know, your muscles bulging in the gym or whatever. Just a walk.
Yeah. Do you find if you don't do that, that you can feel you start to struggle?
Yeah.
Outside that routine?
Yeah. I need to do something now, but I felt like it was slipping again because, you know, it's only been 2.5 months. So yeah. I actually go to a course as well at the minute, which I've mentioned to you. You know, it's a course on cognitive behavior therapy. It was actually an addictions course, but I changed that because it was not to my... Yep. It's not to my, I think I told you that's right. It was, I had this theory in my head, which was, you know, all people sitting around on plastic chairs saying, you know, I'm an addict, and telling their story and having no teeth. And that was my fear. Yeah. And everything about my fear was 100% accurate. It was fucking horrible. I hated it. But now I've switched to a cognitive behavior therapy course, and I'm really liking that. So, you know, I shared with you before, you know, what's in the course. Yeah. It's from the Black Dog Institute. And if anybody wants to, you know, for me to go into that more detail, then just, you know, shoot me a message and I'll explain it to you. It's pretty good.
Yeah. The hang on, we've got a couple of questions here. I won't mention too many names here. Mate, you look great. You look so much healthier. That's obviously from an old friend of yours.
Who said that? Send him some money. No, it's okay. I'm just...
Another one, Dan. Dan. It is Dan. Sorry, Dan. You're a legend, Ed. Thanks so much for sharing and being open and honest. From a young man who I know, Ash. Hey, Ed. You're such an inspiring man. To be able to make a video and express yourself is unreal. You are an absolute legend. Hearing your story is inspiring me to do more about speaking up, not to bottle it up inside. I'm a 19-year-old. I still bottle stuff up today. That's such an important message for a young man. This kid's 19 years of age, and I've been doing a little bit of work with him myself, and I just keep telling him, just take your time. You don't need to rush. Like, you know, we all, even, you know, I'm 48, I still haven't got all my shit together, for God's sake. Like, it's, life's not a rush. We're going to make mistakes. We own them. And you're a classic case of owning what's happened and moving forward. And the story is really, really inspirational, mate.
Yeah. Feel free to give me a call, Ash, anytime. It's not too hard to find my number. Well, it shouldn't be. I'm a real estate agent. So if you can't find my number, I'm not fucking very good, am I? So should be on the internet there, mate. We'll catch up, Ash. Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah. Mate, also someone here, real estate is a very social career. Has this been hard for you in your journey when clients and colleagues always want to go out to bars, etc.?
Oh, this is nothing compared to London. London was
really?
Wild. Yeah, London was wild. I could have died. That was crazy. This was like working 16 hours a day and then taking people from American hedge funds out, which were all very, rich people. We had to take them out to all sorts of
establishments.
Establishments. I don't think she can hear me. Yeah, establishments. And yeah, I mean, at one stage, I think my last Christmas party, we had the stereotypical like midgets fighting in an inflatable ring in the middle of a restaurant. True story. It was weird. So, I had that super social and super stressful environment. And then real estate is also, to answer your question, you have to be a pretty social person to be a real estate agent. Yep. But to be social doesn't mean you need to sit in the bar getting drunk. I figured that out. There's, you can still go to the same restaurants. You can still have the same good time, better time actually. Yeah. Because one of my problems was, again, related to that, the kind of drunk that I would just drink and then fall asleep. So Valentine's Day, for example, this year I fell asleep in the restaurant. I'd paid for a really nice 3-course meal and fell asleep. Had to leave after the starter.
Did you have an off button?
No.
It was just
the off button was the alcohol.
Yeah, but when you started drinking, was it just foot to the floor?
Yeah. I was quick and I wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
So I was a binge drinker. I didn't need to wake. I wasn't drinking alcohol in the job or anything. Just to be clear. Yeah. It was outside of work hours. But when I started, I just wouldn't stop. And you can never be 100%. I always got up the next day and did my job, and never, But yeah, you're never 100% because you're always a bit groggy, right? If you've had a big night out, and that happens a few times a week for me, probably 4.
Do you feel now when you wake up now? Do you just feel like a totally different person?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's better. It's just better. Like there's, again, with the psychiatry and stuff like that, there's really simple techniques. There's a pros and a cons list. There's a more advanced one called the SMYTH system, MAUT, which if anybody's a geek like me, I'm happy to share that too. But it's basically, there's a pros list and there's a cons list. Write them down. The cons of me not drinking versus the pros, just not even a conversation. So, yeah, that's my vibe now.
Yeah. Is it hard? Is it hard not to drink?
Fuck yes. Yeah. Go through it all the time. Even yesterday, it's one of the things that you're, when you're grappling with an issue, a mental issue, whether it's anxiety, stress, alcohol, drugs, whatever, it's all up in here. It's I swear there's only a tiny amount of physiological elements involved in it. It's all mental. So once you make a decision and commit to it, whatever that is, it's fucking empowering. It's really empowering.
What do you say to yourself now? When you feel like a drink, what do you say to yourself? You told me the other day.
I feel like a drink. I'll say, I make sure that I say it like not loudly. I don't fucking shit, not walking down the street and start shouting. I feel like look like a maniac. Hello. Yeah. I'll turn around to Nikki, for example, and I'll just say, I feel like a beer. I feel like a cigarette. And once I do that, it's gone. It's gone. It's like, that's now my mechanism to get rid of it, to say that I want it, parks it. I think the psychiatrist done me on that one. He's probably, got inside there and rewired it a bit. But, and I'm not joking, that's literally what the psychologists do. They get in there and they just help you, you might just have a couple of wires a little bit loose and they just help you tighten things up in the mind. So, you might eat good food, you might exercise. You know, the brain is the most important thing of all of them. So sometimes you might just need some training there and some support. Not enough people realize that or appreciate that, but your mind needs support more than anything.
Was there any dint to the pride or anything to have to go to the psychologist or the psychiatrist? And you're obviously very open about talking about it now. You've always been pretty open. As soon as you went, like you made that decision and you're just like, fuck, this is a good thing. So I'm going to be proud of it. You're really owning it, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what's the alternative? Really? To hide it? To lie about it? You know, it's just... Yeah.
Well, that's what you were doing.
When I was drinking, I was a liar.
Yeah.
Absolute liar. You know, I was hiding how much I drank and, you know, lying about what time I come home and, you know, other stuff. And it was just, yeah, it was shit. It was shit. Anybody that was, you know, exposed to me at that time, I apologize, because I was a piece of shit. And anybody who was supporting me during that time probably aren't around now too much.
Mate, it's really powerful when blokes like yourself, and we had Adrian Patera, who's a big player in the real estate game down here in Victoria, to come out like you both have and talk about...
Oh, I'm not gay. I told you.
You didn't let me finish. Interested, Ed. Interested. Listen. Listen, Ed. Fuck, you've got a long way to go still, haven't you? For you guys to come out as big players in your industry, it's really, really powerful to watch. And I know you know AB from last week, Adrian Patera. And, yeah, did you take any strength? I know we'd already organised to come on, but did you take any strength from watching him last week?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He seems like a, you know, good dude from afar. I've never spoke to him, and I didn't really know much about him, to be honest, before. Yeah. But I thought he was excellent. I thought he was just, you know, he owned it. He'd been through his struggles, and hopefully he's come out the other side, you know, a better man. It looks that way. So, you know, I think especially in our industry, and you know, which is still quite a male industry, I think, in many cases, at least on the sales side and stuff. You know, the truth is the women are probably better at it than us. But anyway, it's quite a male perceived industry, in the sense of, you know, there's a lot of bravado, there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of vanity metrics that people, you know, use as a barometer. It's all fucking bullshit, you know. What is happiness in life, and what is your goals and targets? If it's a number, and I can assure you it's not for me, then you've probably got it all wrong. You know, yeah. I'm enjoying myself now more than ever, because I'm reigniting the connections that I already had, the ones, you know, with my brothers and sisters, for example, my mum and dad. We've always had a strong connection, but it feels like we're getting even stronger now.
Yeah.
You know, I've got Nikki back after, you know, my brief sojourn into the hotel, and she often jokes that she wouldn't mind a few weeks in the hotel. Leave me with a kid and the dog. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Sometimes I get lost. Yes, I'm in a good place now.
Yeah. Mate, another one here from a dear friend of mine, Tony. I'm interested to understand when at a 2, you still were able to comprehend it and understand you where you were. I get you could have got to a 6 or an 8, but at a 2, how did you see that? How did you know you were a 2?
Oh, good question. When you go to the psychiatrist, they teach you a lot of things, right? And one thing is how to understand anxiety, because anxiety is an actual feeling. You know, they say, I don't know if you can see me, but you feel it just below your rib cage, and if you start to look out for it, you can feel it. And that's how if you utilize your breathing, you breathe from your stomach as opposed to your upper body, you can actually control anxiety. So breathing plays another key role in managing anxiety and stress, believe it or not. That's where the saying, you know, take a deep breath comes from. So you do actually stop and take a deep breath, and it helps you manage it.
That's really important, and I do that myself, having seen our psychologist Lawrence. That breathing, I thought that was bullshit. I really did. He's like, take 5 deep breaths in, big as you can, and then let them out. And a minute later, you're like, wow, yeah, that works.
Huge. It's huge, isn't it? It's so simple.
And as he says to me, he goes, what did that cost you? And I go, fucking nothing. And he goes, well, why wouldn't you do it? Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different to going for a walk, mate. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Try it.
So,
we say this every week. Not one hat fits all. So just fucking try something. It's better than doing nothing.
yeah. And so to answer your question, Tony, why was I 2? It was because how I felt. I felt like in the pit of my stomach.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a hotel, you know, with fucking Uber Eats on the table, you know, with, you know, my phone off. And yeah, it's pretty shit.
Yeah. Mate, some more questions here. From Aaron, how do you find that maintaining that motivation to keep going is it difficult to maintain? And how do you get yourself out of the hole to keep going forward? Good question.
Yeah. That's kind of a double question. So starting with the second part, which is like how you get out of the hole. That's where you just kind of, you just got to put your hand up and let people know. That's all you got to do. You got to answer the question, what are you out of 10? You know, if you're a 2 and a 3, then you probably need some help. And that's okay. You know, even a 4, I'd say anything below a 5, you probably, you know, a 5 upwards, you could be just having a good day. But if you're down those lower levels, then that's kind of how you need to, you know, acknowledge that and go and seek literally professional advice. I thought it would be a taboo. It was a taboo, actually, in my family and stuff. Not in a bad way, just because of, you know, whatever, the era or the place that we're raised. You know, there's no reason for it, but I just thought it would have been taboo. You know, I'm from a family that would, you know, their leg would be hanging off before they went to a doctor type style.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the first thing to get out of it is just, you know, seek help, speak to a GP, get them onto a psychiatrist. You get 10 free or 20 free now on the Medicare. So, you know, why not? You've got nothing to lose, not even financial money, just a bit of time.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you might not like the first psychiatrist you meet. You might want to try again. You know, it's flexible. But I would say at least do 3 or 4 sessions before you start to see any change and realize what they're doing to you, which is helping reprogram. And then the maintaining of it is just got to be honest with yourself. Some days you're not going to be 10 out of 10. You know, one huge thing to realize is that all of the stresses and the anxieties that you're medicating, you know, using whichever, you know, mine was alcohol, as you know. So those stresses and anxieties will still be there when you're sober. It's just that you'll be sober. So getting sober or whatever your thing may be doesn't solve all the problems. They're still there. The difference is you have a clear head to deal with them, so you can deal with them and you stop burying your head in the sand. Yeah. It's great.
I think the key there is just stand there, look in front of the mirror, and put your hand up and go, I've got an issue. I've got to do something.
Yeah. And even if one thing I'd say is even if you're not sure, because, you know, you can actually capture the issue before it gets too bad. So I let it probably go on a bit too far. So even if you were just like not sure, if you're at a stage where you're like, oh, you know, I feel like I might be a little bit off or I might need somebody to talk to or whatever, then, you know, do it. Even if you're like, even if for a second you think, I think I might need that, you do. I guarantee you do. Take that moment and speak to somebody, even a mate.
Act on it.
You got to act on that moment. Everybody knows in business or in life that your gut instincts are normally right. So especially when it comes to your own mind, you know, there's nobody that has a better gut instinct than you to tell you when you need something.
Yeah. Mate, I say this every week. It's really, really easy to get your mate to ask you how you are. Okay. So if you ask them, how's their day out of 10, they will ask you. If you're struggling, ask your mate first. He will ask you then, and you just say to him, 2. You don't have to ring up and say, mate, this is going on. Just say you're a 2, and then it'll flow from there. I've seen it work. It happens all the time. Mate, a few more here. Hello, Ed. There's a guy called Scott. I ditched the wife and the daughter to listen to you, mate. Thank you so much. There you go.
Scott. That's got to be Scotty Mac. Yeah. Thanks, Scotty.
A mate of mine.
I don't recommend ditching any wives.
Yeah, no,
just for the record.
And absolutely loving your honesty with us and with yourself, mate. That's the key. You're being honest with yourself. Good point, Kona. You're being honest with yourself, and you're being honest with us. And to come on, you don't have to do this, mate. Your staff are going to see this. Your peers are going to see this. And for me, that's the really powerful thing, to set the tone in your business about being open and honest, and to be commended, mate. Did you think about that before you came on, that who was going to see you? Don't give a shit.
Yeah, look, I guess what's important to me is that the people around me, I don't know. It's hard to answer. I kind of give a shit because I don't want people to know all my dirty laundry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I'm doing... Ruby doesn't agree. But at the same time, I'm doing it for the right reasons, which is, for based on the comments, it's to be able to kind of provide, real advice and real guidance from somebody who's just, the same as probably a few people that are listening now that might be struggling. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. The other side's great, actually. So it's just start with that, and then, once you start to get better, the other side's great. There were some. You'll be amazed how many people reach out. You'll reassess your whole fucking life. From everything, from your friend circles to all your mechanisms. From your mechanic to everything. You'll look at everything a little bit differently, and that's with a clear head. Yeah. And you'll be amazed at the things that you can start to achieve as an individual. It's empowering. It's really, really good.
Another one from Tony. Did your psychiatrist perhaps strongly suggest medication as part of your journey?
Yeah, they did, but it's not. It's not something that I want to do. They give me a shed loads of Valium and said, do this and do that. The initial week or two, I took the Valiums, and then, I stopped taking them. It's something that I want to do on a more organic level, I guess, rather than, pharmaceutical based.
Yeah. Got another one here from Scotty. Ed, I've only just joined, but being on the other side of the world from your hometown, has that had an impact on you, mate? Being away from your hometown?
Yeah, well, I guess that's always been tough because, especially with my brothers and sisters being so, close-knit. Yeah. People don't appreciate how, you've got your mum and your dad and your brothers and your sisters, and you can just pop around, have a cup of tea. Appreciate people are in lockdown in Melbourne and stuff, but, which is tough. And, you guys are legends for going through that. But, when things are said and done, you can just pop around and see your brother, your sister, or your mum and dad, and it makes it a bit easier. Yeah. I've actually got two brothers in Australia, one in Perth and one in Melbourne, so that's good. Not that we can visit, but yeah, just being so far away from your sisters and your mum and dad can be a little bit tough, Scotty, because you don't have that, connection, I guess. Yeah. Like I've got a nephew in Scotland and I've never even met him and stuff like that. It's pretty hard. But I left home when I was 17, and I'm 37 now, so I've been away from home longer than I've been at home, and I've lived in 4 countries, so I'm kind of, basically I'm sounding like a fucking Irish gypsy, aren't I? A little bit of fucking Caron in the front.
Mate, thank you so much for tonight. When I rang you the other day and we had a Zoom and we got to see each other for the first time, it was a good moment, mate. I'm so proud to be part of, play a really small part in your journey, to watch you grow over the last 10 weeks to that video. Like, I saw that video when you did it and you sent it to me, and mate, to let me in like you have, and to be a small part, you're inspiring, mate. You really are. And from 100 words, mate to mate, it just gives us so much sort of such a pep up to go, you know what, this works. We know it does, but to have someone like you come on and share your story, mate, it's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Mate, I've got, I guess I'll revert to my notes now. I forgot to revert to my notes. Can you see them?
Yeah. Hang on, I'll put my glasses on.
That was it.
What was it? Be open, be interested, and be what?
Be thankful.
Yeah.
So, one thing again we didn't mention is this gratefulness. So if you just stop and be grateful for a minute for what you've actually got and what you can lose, because I almost lost it. So that forced me to be grateful. Please don't get as far as that. stop now. You know, if you're at home with your partner, go and give them a kiss or a cuddle, or the kids, give them a hug, because that you've got a lot to be grateful for, no matter what situation you're in. I guarantee you do. You know, we've mentioned some names tonight, like, you know, David Holmes, and I mentioned my business partner Karen and Nikki and my family. You know, I have a closed group on Facebook as well, which, you know, they've all been super supportive. So I won't mention it because it's a secret group. But thank you to those people, and also, you know, Peter Brewer, who's been there since the start. He always kept checking in on me, mate, which was good. You know, he just had his knees replaced, and he was in there making sure I was okay, which is a good sign of a selfless man. So I appreciate him too. And just everybody, mate. There's just been so many nice messages of support and on the Facebook, you know, posts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like, people are really rooting for me. It's good. You know, I've still got a lot of challenges going on, you know, in my head and things. It's still a battle. It's only 2.5 months in, but we're heading in the right direction. And you know, if I fall over, I wouldn't drink or smoke cigarettes, but if I fall over in an emotional sense, I'll get back up, and that's important to note as well. It's not a straight line.
But not only that, you know now how many people are on your team and supporting you, because you've been open and honest. So they know what's going on. So they'll be in tune to look for signs if you are slipping. And you know, if you are, there's so many people now that you know you can ring and have an open and honest and raw conversation with that you probably didn't think you could 10 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I've probably got clients watching this as well. You know, my Facebook is pretty open. You know, I like cars, but I'm not really a flash, you know, slow-mo video kind of real estate agent, I hope.
Yep.
I'm a bit more, you know, jeans and a t-shirt style, just relaxed. So, you know, I drive a Kia, which I'm sure a lot of the boys will have a laugh at. But it's a nice fucking Kia. It's a Kia Stinger. I don't like talking about it too much.
Another one here, just from your mate Peter Brewer. Just tuned in, Ed. Where you been, Pete? We'll send you a copy. Your leadership and preparedness to put your balls on the line is absolutely inspiring, mate. He's so right. That is it in a nutshell. You will guarantee you inspire a whole lot of people to tune in tonight and to register and take the time.
Thank you, Pete.
Mate, you're an absolute jet. And on behalf of myself, Waltzy, who's done a huge job, and I know you've had a good chat to him, mate, we could not be prouder of you at 100 words. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, mate. And just like, you know, if anybody needs some help, TURTS is there. You know, he's been a great support to me since day one. He's, you know, these guys, this is a charity. You know, these guys don't have to do this. They're giving up their own time and efforts to make this happen, to help people like me. And if anybody's out there, you know, they get great, you know, what fills their cup is helping other people, which I'm starting to get, you know, greedy with as well. You know, once you help somebody, it's a new currency. You know, it's like paying it forward. You know, before it was, you know, let's become the number one salesman. That's coming out. I'm actually switching to like, let me just help people. And that feels nice. You know, helping people is a currency. And the more you help people, then the richer you are.
Absolutely, mate. Not a true word spoken. Ed, when COVID finishes, we are going to have a cup of tea together.
Yeah, well, you're welcome anytime, mate.
Okay.
We'll have one on the balcony.
My shout.
It's fucking freezing now. It's been here an hour. It tastes like shit. I'm just doing it for effect. I thought I'd look more intelligent if I've had I don't wear glasses. I don't even wear glasses. This is all a joke. I do drink tea though.
You're a good man. Ed, thanks for your time tonight, mate. We'll catch up. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, mate. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
What a great man. That video was really, really powerful. He sent that to me 2 days after I spoke to him for the first time, and I was blown away by the openness and honesty that he showed. And to come on tonight and air that is a really, really powerful thing. And that is leadership. That's what you do when you're a leader in an industry, to just bear yourself and just, you know, he'll help a lot of people. And that's what he wants to do now. He doesn't want anyone to experience what he experienced. As I do every week, I thank those who help us. To Shelley Wood from Splice Communications, if you need anything done in your business for communications, you only ring one person. That's Shelley Wood from Splice Communications. To Matt Atkin, dear friend of mine who owns Atlas Brokers. You need to get your house refinanced or you need some equipment finance. You ring Matt Atkin, tell him TURTS said to say hi, and he'll look after you. And to my dear friend Brett Phillips, who runs the only tennis show in this country. He does a hell of a lot for the tennis community, and he does a hell of a lot for us at 100 Words Mate to Mate. Thank you. I say it every week. Do me a favour. Just ring your mates and ask them how they are out of 10. Do it once a day. You will have a profound effect on your mates. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Take care. Hope your week's at least a 10 out of 10. See ya.